Greetings, humans. We are Opakagelo and Onagagelo. We have been requested by Sangheili leader Nakai Vodar to discuss excavator platforms that serve the Covenant and its fragmented factions, so your forces can better combat them. We shall discuss functionality, vehicle classification, and armaments. We begin now. Excavators are a class of Covenant walkers. Their main function was mining and excavation of valuable Forerunner artifacts. They traverse across harsh and difficult terrains to find relics needed by prophets and great journey. Although in times of war, they were applied as heavy weapon platforms, mobile bases, and combat engineering vehicles during planetary invasions. Excavators make extensive use of Mgalekgolo, with our colonies bound together with vehicles control systems. However, we were rarely given complete control, with Covenant officers and military personnel accompany these vehicles. Most were Sangheili Evokati and Jirohanai chieftains. All excavators were organized by Covenant into several tiers, each one indicating walker's size, excavating efficiency, and delicacy in mining powerful relics. 9 tiers of excavators are recorded, survived the Covenant Empire's collapse. Lowest tier were Type 30 light excavation anti-fortification platform, more commonly known as Locust. This is weakest of excavator line. During Covenant's war against your kind, Locusts were utilized for offensive purposes, regarded at times as building killers. Unlike most excavators, our colonies were not permitted to operate Locust, instead relied on Ungoi, Sangheili, and Jirohanai pilots. Tier 1 excavator platforms like Locust are still utilized by remnants of former Covenant Empire, though role has changed. While some are employed by Jirohanai raiding parties to pillage colony worlds, others have been used by Sangheili Kaidons and warlords to fortify keeps and protect their fragmented alliances. In Tier 4 comes most notable excavators seen by your species, Scarab tanks. Scarabs are large, heavily armored all-terrain walkers employed by Covenant and its successors as mobile bases and heavy weapon platforms. All Scarabs make extensive use of Mgalekgolo colonies, bound together with platforms control systems, though Gestal is often barred from having complete control of housing. Scarab meta-colonies were often populated by particularly unruly strains that could not be left to their own devices. While confusing to humans, Scarab was never considered a vehicle by Covenant. Their reliance on Mgalekgolo and ability to operate independently led to Covenant categorization as ultra-heavy infantry when used in combat. Scarabs were too valuable to operate without support, and most were accompanied by infantry and supervised personnel when deployed in field. Scarab platform are armed with wide variety of armaments. Most powerful of these is Focus Cannon, nearly capital-scale energy projector capable of either mass destruction or delicate excavation, depending on tuning and operator expertise, though our colonies have no fine control over beam. Most Scarabs feature turret-mounting heavy plasma cannons, an emplacement point for crew-served weapons for embarked defenders. Scarabs that lack secondary plasma cannons were often fitted with communication and posterization arrays in their stead. There were many different Scarab lines for an array of different purposes. As we understand, your Oni has only recorded 5. Rarely encountered, Type 29 Ultra Heavy Site Excavator appears to have been a special purpose excavation machine in Covenant service, deployed to reveal deep buried Forerunner facilities. With limited combat utility, it could not self-deploy and had to have been assembled on site due to the delicate components and sheer size. Type 29's scarcity and reverential language used in Covenant records indicate it may have been an ancient design used only to reveal particularly significant reliquaries. Regardless, Type 29 was fitted with most powerful focus beam of all known Scarabs. The only known Scarab of this line was destroyed by humans during First Battle of Arcadia. Synonymous with Scarab to UNSC forces, Type 47 Ultra Heavy Assault Walker were used often in war against your species, though rarely employed against your outer colonies. Type 47 began to be fielded in larger numbers near end of Covenant War to crush UNSC fortifications in inner colony worlds. 2 Scarab chassis types were identified by your UNSC administration. Type 47A and B platforms. Type 47B, commonly known as Deuteros by Covenant, were most encountered Type 47 Scarabs and were always operated by the Mgalekgolo contained within, effectively functioning as an exoskeleton for Gestal, fitted with focus cannon and secondary heavy plasma cannon. Deuteros rightly strikes fear into the hearts of human forces. Other model was Type 47A Protos Scarab, through unknown origins even to Covenant forces that were issued. Protos towers roughly 50 meters into air, dwarfing Deuteros' design. Rather than single large plasma cannon as secondary armament, it used 2 separate suppressor-mounted heavy plasma repeaters, optimized for anti-aerospace use, almost never used by Covenant forces for direct combat, and later analysis of Covenant records confirmed it was classed as specialized artifact retrieval vehicle with fine-tunable focus cannon and specialized sensor array that human forces rarely had the opportunity to observe as it burned its way through their defenses. Type 58 Ultra Heavy Site Excavator / Embedded, colloquially known as Harvester, is a Covenant walker used during large-scale excavation and in search of artifacts. They were armed with heavy plasma drill to pierce through even mountains. These heavy walkers were generally used in long-time invasions, much like Scarabs. It is composed of meta-colonies of Mgalekgolo, known as Mgalekgolo. They were heavily relied to operate harvesters' mobile capabilities, while weapon systems were entrusted to Covenant commanders. These platforms weren't utilized by Covenant in warfare, though Renegade Warlord Jewel and Dama made use recently during his campaign on the Forerunner installation known as Requiem. And finally, most powerful excavator platform noted in Swords of St. Helios archives. Type 55 Ultra Heavy Siege Tower, otherwise known as Kraken. The Kraken is an ultra-heavy siege tower, a massive sky fortress with 3 powerful grappler arms capable of physically crushing and moving mountain-sized objects. The Carapace's main assault platform is augmented with stationary weapons, aircraft, and infantry, and is used as staging site for localized incursions, allowing it to crush through enemy defenses. The Kraken is generally deployed by a capital ship from suborbital location, dropping quickly to surface of world while moving through an effective position. Once in place, Siege Tower can relentlessly beset an enemy site through the firing of stationary weapon emplacements, deployment of individual strike forces, or even physically ripping through opponents' fortified structures. Some were noted as being deployed during Covenant War, but they were most prominently used by Jewel and Dama's Covenant forces during assault on St. Helios, though our superior strength overcame these impressive war machines. Many excavators carved their way through mountains and armies to claim treasures left by those who came before. Now, with Covenant gone, we have no doubt our Swords of St. Helios allies will use platforms in offensive and defensive roles against Prometheans as they too besiege St. Helios. Now we must depart. Goodbye, humans. This is Opakagelo and Onagagelo. End transmission.